refresh TikTok on my iPhone and see that there's a new video involving my daughter. The fingertips of my left hand dig into my forehead, as I know something even more horrific has happened to my daughter. I just can't get myself to press play as these horrid thoughts go rushing through my mind. Luckily, Officer Dan comes back, which distracts me from the video. Dan told me that he was in contact with the local police barracks in the town of Susquehanna, which is a small town north of Scranton, where an officer at the barracks confirmed that Rosemary's family has property in the area. However, because of her family's local connections, the local police won't do anything without a search warrant, which won't happen anytime soon. Listen, Ted, I spoke to the captain and I showed him the videos of your daughter and the two other girls. The captain has given me permission to take the police cruiser up north to try to find your daughter. The captain feels sorry for making you wait after you called 911 and is willing to take on the liability of proceeding without a warrant based on the girl's grave circumstances. Typically, we would call the FBI, but that will just slow us down even more, so let's go right now. I don't even say anything and just jump into the police cruiser's passenger seat. Dan makes his way towards the Northeast Extension's turnpike, where he's easily going over 100 miles per hour. This is the first time I've ever been in a cop car, and I'm amazed how the car rides so smoothly that it feels like we're only going 60 miles per hour. Dan is so lasered focused on driving that we don't talk much. I know that part 8 is posted and that I have to watch it for my daughter's sake to see what that witch has done to her and the rest of the girls. I push play and I see Rosemary drag each girl out of the tent by their legs. I squint my eyes and do my best not to yell out. It's really an awful sight to watch an adult woman drag my young daughter on the bare ground, like how a person would drag a garbage can. Rosemary ties each one of the girls to the same tree, where I shake my head in disgust knowing that there are bears and other animals in the woods. I try my hardest not to look at the girls' faces, but I feel compelled to do so, where it doesn't take a psychiatrist to realize that these girls will suffer from PTSD for a long time, if they survive this ordeal. Dan is driving so fast that we make it past Scranton in a little over an hour's time. He starts to slow down and turns his police lights off as he doesn't know the exact location to where the girls are located. I really start to get tense as I realize how rural this area is and the fact that we're basically guessing to a certain degree to my daughter's whereabouts. Dan puts on his patrol car searchlights, as if he could sense the location is close, but he needs the lights on to help find the exact location. As Dan is slowly cruising, I can't get rid of these nagging thoughts, that since we got off the turnpike, Dan must have made 10 different turns to get us to our current location, without the use of any kind of GPS or any other navigational devices. My grandmother used to tell me that she was born at night but not last night. Meaning, how did Dan know to come here without the use of any kind of directions? According to Dan, he radioed someone, but he couldn't have memorized all of these road names and know to turn left versus right. I think to myself. Obviously, he's somewhat familiar to this area, but how or why? We're driving in the middle of nowhere with nothing but woods and an occasional hunting cabin, so he has had to come here in the past. Something is extremely fishy. What are the chances that he actually spoke with his captain, and why are we doing this alone? I keep thinking to myself. He pulls over on the side of the road to a heavily wooded area and attempts to make a phone call on his cell phone. He says crap. No service. Then he puts his phone down in the middle console and gets out of the car and says I'll be right back. I can see that he's looking into the woods with his flashlight as he walks along the shoulder of the road. I quickly grab his phone and I'm in luck that the phone didn't lock. I go right to his photos and I notice that he had deleted all of his photos, or he has never taken any photos in the first place. I remember about a month ago that Grace got so mad at her mother for not coming to visit her that Grace erased all the photos of her mother off her phone. I later researched online how to recover the photos and went back in on her phone and retrieved the photos, knowing that her mother is having some kind of temporary mental health breakdown and hopefully she will eventually come around to her old self. As quickly as possible, I scroll through his deleted photos and see that most of them were of his police buddies. However, it didn't take long for me to see the monster herself, posing in a selfie with Officer Dan, and for myself to then give off a knee-jerk reaction, "Oh fuck," followed by "Hey you son of a bitch." I quickly pull myself together, knowing that the only person who is here to help Grace and her friends is me. What is this guy's angle? Is he here to kill me along with the girls? Oddly enough, my mind flashes back to when I was in college and my apartment caught on fire. I ran out of the apartment building as fast as I could, but the guy right across the hallway from me, who I talked to every day, died of smoke inhalation. Every day, I think to myself that all I needed to do was knock on his door to wake him up, but the moment was too big for me and I panicked and ran. I see his face every single day knowing that I had more than enough time to just knock on his door to wake him up. I put Dan's phone down and devise a plan. I open the back passenger door, then I lock the same door, while keeping the door open. I then take the keys out of the ignition and place them on the floor behind the driver's seat. I get out of the car and stay close to the car as I pretend to look in the woods. Dan starts to walk back towards the car and notices me standing outside the car with the rear passenger door open. He looks inside the police cruiser and says, "Where's the keys?" Where he looks at me with both anger and confusion. Oh, being from the city, I've learned to never leave a running car unattended, so I put the keys in the back. Where I point to the floor. Dan looks bewildered to why I put the keys on the floor, but like a rat, he proceeds through the trap anyways. He goes through the passenger door and scoots himself over on the back seat to reach for the keys. The moment that both of his feet are through the door, then I slam the door shut. "What the fuck are you doing?" Dan yells to me as his face turns red. I go and sit back in the passenger seat of the cruiser, which has a bulletproof glass window separating the two of us. "Listen to me, I'm not as dumb as I look. I know that you are in some kind of relationship with that Rosemary pig. Just tell me where they are and I'll move to Florida and you'll never see me again." He is spewing with anger in the back seat of the patrol car like a Supermax inmate, who just learned that someone called him a snitch. He tries to unlock both of the back doors, as my heart goes into overdrive as I start to sweat, because I didn't check to see if the other door was locked. Amazingly, I didn't have a heart attack as I was fortunate that the rear driver's side door was locked. "You're trapped like a rat and I'm the only person who can let you out," I say to him. "Someone will drive by any time now and see that something isn't right. Who are they going to believe? Me in a police uniform or you? This road is so remote that I would be surprised if there's even a single person that lives anywhere near here. Listen, do you really want to go down with her? So far all you have done is driven me here to help save my daughter and the two other girls. Do you really want to ruin not only your whole career but spend the rest of your life behind bars?" Dan kind of looks at me as if I was starting to make sense. "What was the intent of all of this? Why was my daughter and the other girls kidnapped?" I asked. "I was never involved in any of the planning of what Rosemary has done. Everything I told you about me representing her, when she was a cop, was true, but I left out the part that I started to have an affair with her, which is still going on. She called me a few hours ago with some bizarre idea, where she told me that she took these girls camping and some guy, meaning you, would eventually discover videos she posted and try to come rescue the girls. Rosemary told me that once you arrived that she was going to stage the whole thing to make it look like you were the kidnapper getting back at your estranged wife and she was going to apprehend you." "Wait. Why?" I said in complete bewilderment. "She thinks that this will help her get back on the police force. So the intent was for me to come up here, where it would then be staged that I did something to Rosemary? Then make it look like I harmed the girls?" "I think so." "And you want to help this woman?" I then look at Dan with complete confusion. "Listen, I wasn't the best husband to my first wife and I've been really lonely for years. Like I said, I wasn't involved in any of the planning of this. She just called me a few hours ago." "But I called 911 and everything else. How did she know there was going to be a robbery in town and that there would be no one from the police force who would be available to come to my house to talk to me? She paid some crackhead a $1,000 to go in the store and rob the place and then run off, which would take a lot of the law enforcement's resources to try to find and apprehend him because no one wants an armed robber running around in an affluent neighborhood. But she knew this all along and she was actually calling in anonymous tips to keep us cops looking for the armed robber. However, I'm guessing that he's actually hiding out at Rosemary's house, which isn't far from the actual scene of the crime." "Okay, that's some really detailed manipulative planning. That's why she got fired. What about the videos? She has incriminated herself to the nth degree?" I say with continued confusion. "When you first met her, you gave away too much information about yourself. I see that you're not wearing your wedding ring?" "Yeah, my wife is going through some issues right now." "Yeah, I'm 100% sure she noticed that you weren't wearing your wedding ring and you were either knowingly or unknowingly sizing her up as well." "Yeah, I guess. She's a master when it comes to human behavior and you probably told her something about yourself to try to spark a conversation to try to get her to know you better." "I just told her that I was thankful that she was taking my daughter camping and that I was going to spend the weekend watching my crime-related videos on TikTok." "Did you tell her your username?" "At Ted1976? You know what? Maybe I did, just to sublimely allow her to send me a message, if she was interested. I can't believe that I fell into her trap. She must have tagged all of her posted videos with all of the categories that I'm interested in. You didn't know you were being trapped. You thought you were talking to some decent looking Girl Scout mother that maybe you had a chance with. You're right. Think about the videos you watched. All you have is a hand, which is grainy at best. You don't have her car or anything else. What about the girl's testimony? You don't think that she has been wearing the most horrifying mask the whole time, to not only terrify the girls but conceal herself? You're saying that her plan is to make it look as though I did something to her in the Mercury Sable and then make it look like I transported the girls in the yellow bus? That's what I gather. I have such a headache right now. Listen, she thinks you're coming, so let her think that, but instead I'm going to get the girls. Just tell me where they are and like I said, I'll pretend that you had nothing to do with this. You should open this back door. Listen to me, that's not going to happen. You have to put yourself in my shoes. I'm here to get my daughter and the 2 other girls. Once I have them, we can talk about what's going to happen next, but like I said, I'll keep my mouth shut about your involvement if you don't do anything stupid. Okay, up the road about 50 yards, there's an access road. You'll need the shotgun in the trunk of this cruiser. Have you ever used a shotgun before? Yeah, once when I was an Eagle Scout about 25 years ago. That's reassuring. He sarcastically says. I'm going to pass these keys underneath the seat to you, so you can unlock the trunk. He then says. He puts the keys underneath the driver's seat and I proceed to the trunk. I take out the automatic shotgun and then head towards the access road in the pitch black.